looking at me. All right, we're live. So, hey guys, happy Sunday. Hope you're all doing well. Right now, I got my two new friends, Skylar and Macey, who have their podcast that they'll probably talk about. That they also invited me on for socialization. So if you haven't checked that out, definitely do. But before we go on to our topic, Skylar, Macy, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourselves and tell us what you do, where you're at, and what you all specialize in.
Want to go first?
Mm.
You go first. No? Okay. Hi, I'm Skylar Gingrich. I own Redemption Dog Training in Denver, Colorado. If you happen to hear things behind me, I have ferrets in my room right at this moment, so I apologize for that. I have been dog training for 12 years, off and on. I do a lot of behavior modification, and I focus really hard on like emotions and things like that.
Perfect.
Hi, my name is Macey. I own Boss Dog Canine Dog Training in Louisiana. And I do more of like your typical obedience. I do some behavior modification and I use obedience to fix that. We also work with different types of working dogs. I currently have 2 search and rescue dogs in training right now, and we have a few service dogs on hand in training as well. But that is my business down here in Louisiana.
Cool. So short and simple, love it. So right now for our topic for today, we're going to talk about behavioral management. So this could be just like whether it's reactivity or fear, or we'll go more in depth, but we're going to talk about just like how important management can be, and upsides, downsides, all that good stuff. And if any of y'all have any questions throughout the stream, or if you're watching, feel free to leave a comment. And then it's gonna be on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram's being a bitch right now, so I gotta figure that out. But and then you guys can, depending on your comfort level, you could swear a little bit, just because I had J Jack before and he just swear nonstop through the
We
whole
do
thing.
swear in
So
our podcast. So.
Yeah, we swear a lot in ours. We can
all right,
reframe if you want us to.
Yeah, we can try and keep it clean for you.
you can go within reason. I would
Okay.
say go within reason.
Okay.
Like it'll be fun if it's more natural, but don't. But like, Spotify also has it where it's like, does it involve cursing or explicit content? I'm like, no. It's
It
just
didn't
it's
do
just
it
a
for
few
us, did it?
it's just a few swearing words, so it's
You
fine.
can have a couple. You can't have like just continually. Yeah, I could see how J Jack would be a little bit harder for that.
Just a
Yeah.
smidge.
Oh, yeah.
So, all right. So for you guys, what I want for you guys, what does management mean for you guys when it comes to like the dog training world? Like, just for like, because I'm probably gonna send this video out to like pet owners with dogs who like need to understand how to manage, or what management is. So like, I always want to ask the guest, be like, what's the definition mean for you guys?
So I'm just gonna put it out there that management has become like a dirty word in dog training, for whatever reason, and it should not be, because we are using almost everything to manage our dogs. Like leashes are a form of management, so that your dog does not run away from you. And yeah, so management is literally doing something that will keep your dog away or from doing something else.
Mm-hmm.
At least that's how I think about it. It's a way of controlling your dog. Yeah, just controlling your dog, really.
Mm-hmm. And Macy.
Yeah, so I mean, to kind of go off what Skylar says, like that's kind of what it is for me too. I do find that management is used in everyday stuff. It's not just for dogs with aggression issues. It's not just for dogs with fear issues. Although I feel like those dogs do need a little bit more management and maybe a little bit more handling than others. But it's something that like even people with regular happy-go-lucky puppies, the management, you start managing your dog from day one. But I mean, as far as like definition wise, it's not allowing your dog to do something that's going to be harmful to them, or harmful to somebody around you. And that could be something as the dog follows command. That could be something as you have a certain item that is used to help you with that. It can be anything that changes a behavior that might not change on its own in those moments. And to me, that's what management is.
Yeah. It can be as little as closing a door. Like that is a form of management.
Yeah. I mean, management at this point is just, just the littlest things that just make sure our dogs don't get into trouble for the most part, because it's like, like simplest things, like like the simplest thing, like putting away the butter or bread from off the counter, and then the dog still gets at it, and then it's just like, it's like, how, it's like, what happened? How did he get, like, what did he get from the counter? Oh,
Yeah.
he took butter for the 5th time, and I'm like, did we not talk about putting the butter away in the fridge, or putting it completely
This
away?
sounds like a personal story here with just butter.
I'm not gonna lie. I just worked with a poodle recently that, he was like in a somewhat of a sad rescue case, and then this nice family fostered him, and then he took butter twice, and then I went to try to teach him like concept of space and boundaries in the kitchen, things like that, and then right when just for a slight millisecond, this dog just grabbed the whole stick of butter, just had it in his mouth, and then we were just like, and he's just like chomp, 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 and the butter's like slowly melting, and then we're just like, how do we get this out of his mouth? Because this standard poodle has bit the husband like twice for like touching him in a certain way, and then here I am just trying to get a stick of butter out of his mouth, and and I'm like, and next thing you know, you get like you get like maybe 8 tablespoons of butter, like the other half, and I'm like, this is gross, and I'm like, okay, cool, like this is gonna be this is a good case of you gotta manage what you put on this damn table.
Yeah.
But yeah, this dog, including the time he took it while I was around, that's his 3rd time he loves butter. So yeah, butter for him is a very high reinforcement to be on the counter. So
yeah, do they not put their butter in the refrigerator, or because I know some people don't, like my grandma leaves it out.
Yeah, my grandma.
But we put it in the refrigerator because our cats are kind of bad about stuff like that.
I mean now they put it away. I think it was like when they were trying to take it out for like actual cooking. That's when he was like getting into it. He even goes up to the dishes when the kids are washing the dishes and things like that.
Wow.
So
he's like, that's where all the crumbs are.
So opportunistic.
Oh yeah, and this poodle was like skinny before, and so now he's just like, is this all for me? I was abused, and I was just like, my God. And then we're just working on just like food claiming, and we put like container of turkey and then the butter. Well, after he pulled it out of his mouth, I was like, let me get the butter again, and then I was like, oh, this is gross. Okay, I'm putting this in a paper towel, and then we try to reset the situation where it's like, you don't get the butter.
Yeah.
And then we ended on a good note, but his face was just like, he had butter like running. He had butter from his chin and then his chest, and like, and he was trying to lick his chest the whole time. He can't reach. He's just like,
that's funny.
But yeah, I mean management with you. I mean, the way you guys described it is pretty spot on. It's pretty simple, and like, we could go more dog slogans about it or more dog trainer genre words, but for your average pet owners and things like that, I like simple terminology where people can understand what I mean when it comes to management. Especially between this. Yeah.
We've kind of talked about that before. Like, I common speak dog knowledge constantly. I know the scientific terms of it, but like scientifically, that's not going to help my clients understand it. So like, I will take something and just like jargon the heck out of it, and use it in a more, again, common speech. Like I'm not gonna be like, oh, well, this is because of da 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 da, you know.
Hmm.
So I mean, as making it as simple and easy for anybody to understand is very important in dog training.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Especially since most of the people we work with are just your average people just wanting to have dogs, and
Yeah.
like unless we all become big time dog trainers that do workshops, like how we talked about, like post chat,
Yeah.
uh, and
Keep your eye out.
start offering dog training schools. Right now, we're here. We gotta educate the general public, which I think is good because it's like it's like with us dog trainers, like management is just like, I don't know, kind of like second nature, or like we just
Mhm.
know instantly what to do. Like if we run into an
Yeah.
issue with a dog, but it's just like when people hire us, that's when we're gonna have to tell them like, okay, I'll always do it where I'll tell them like I can't guarantee anything when I work with
Mhm.
you with your dog, but I will say I can make your lives a little bit easier to help handle this dog. And it's like I tell them, kind of like when we get a new car, things like that. It's like they're always like dogs also just require a good amount of maintenance, to make sure that they're in tip shape or to make sure that their behavior stays that way. And so it's just like being able to like describe them to that, because like if you let's say if I buy a Tesla, but if I don't do good maintenance, if I don't manage all the necessities of that car is just gonna go to shit. Kind of like how my van just went through like a $7,000 purchase, but I'm not going to talk about that in full detail. So, um, but yeah, I'm sure you two and I can talk about different examples of like different management cases that would be like a good example for like the public setting. So,
Yeah. I think you said the biggest thing, which is like for dog trainers, management really is kind of a second nature thing. It's a thing that we think about, just
hmm
like even in our own households and stuff like that. And whereas the general public doesn't, and
hmm
they kind of got this dog thinking, I'm never gonna have to really like do anything. I'm not gonna have to like put things up off the countertops or anything like that. Whereas like we're like, oh, hold on, wait, I know that you assumed that like having a dog was just this really easy thing, but it turns out you actually have to do all of these other things to keep it where it needs to be.
hmm I know there's just times where and I don't know if you've run into owners that just like, what do you mean I can't let my dogs go play with other dogs at the dog park? What do you mean I can't
Mhm.
Get
let them
pet by
off leash at?
strangers.
He's like, what do you mean? It's like it's like, what do you mean I gotta put away my butter? Or what do you mean I gotta
Or their
muzzle my
shoes.
dog? Or
Or the
shoes?
shoes.
Putting away shoes. I
Yep.
mean,
Yep.
They're just clients, or I mean, they come to you talk asking for like a solution or a fix, or like, here's my money, fix this, right? And
Yeah.
but then here I am being like, you're like, yeah, it's like you're gonna have to not do this.
Yeah.
Like, you like, if you want your dog to not be a jerk around other dogs, you kind of can't. You have to stop bringing your dog to this certain air dog park at this time at all. And they're like, what do you mean he loves the dog park? It's like, does he love the dog park, or do you love the dog park?
yeah.
So it's like you also kind of have to word it a different way, where you're like, it's like, I know you and your dog enjoy this, but in the long run, it'd be a lot more beneficial if he didn't do this.
Yeah. You kind of have to humanize it for them so that they're like, oh, I use like socialization a lot, and the fact that I'm like, some people are introverts
hmm
and they don't like to be touched by random people. And so like that is kind of like your dog. Like
Yeah.
they don't need to be touched by all the random people in the world. They don't like that.
I mean, I can relate. I mean, I know friends who are exactly how you describe it, and they would rather be home than actually in a social setting. Then I'm like, accurate. I was like, this dog reminds me of my friend. I'd rather be home. So it's like
Mhm.
it's totally valid. I I mean, also too, just being able to have it where like when a dog keeps doing something, whether it's barking or like, or when they see like, okay, cool, whenever I go on the counter, I find something and it already self-reinforce. Like the more they keep doing that habit that your dog, like you don't want your dog doing, it just becomes more habit, more reinforcement. And that's kind of like the same thing with like people, with how we have certain bad habits, whether we shake our leg or I don't know, chew a pen while we're bored or something. It's like if you keep it going, you don't even notice it later on. So
Right.
that's where it's like you have to like nip in the butt now and have to reduce the chances of the opportunities that are allowed to do that and do more opportunities where they're not doing it and they're doing something else that works out, you know?
Yeah, I mean,
So
like self-rewarding behavior is, I mean, it's one of those things that's like if you allow your dog to do something that they enjoy, like barking at the door, like a
mhm,
doorbell ringing, and you don't want your dog to excessively bark, but if barking feels good for them and barking is something at that it's self-rewarding, then that's only going to make the dog want to do it more.
mhm,
But I mean, that's kind of where redirecting that behavior every single time somebody knocks at the door is going to make it to where that dog doesn't do that anymore.
mhm,
I mean, like with people, it takes 30 days to break a bad habit, which is also why I don't do short-term board and trains, because in 14 days I can't break a bad habit. And I think it's ridiculous for somebody to think that they can break a bad habit in 14 days. Or even there's some people who are like 8 days. Like I know somebody who does like an 8-day board and train. And I'm like, that's ridiculous because like you, I feel like you can add behaviors, but taking behaviors away, I do not feel
mhm,
like that's very, very possible.
I mean, I could see it if you're like starting the foundation of everything and then you transfer it all over to the owner and be
Mhm.
like, here is the foundation of what we have started, and you have to continue this every single time because you have to
mhm,
change their neural pathways. Like, you have to change their brain, and it
Mhm.
takes time to do that.
mhm.
Absolutely.
Yeah, especially, it's like especially when you have like the more extreme cases where you have like a dog that's like real like will either do damage to a person or dog or something, right? Like you have trainers, you have people that have like dogs like that either just you put them in obedience or they have them in a certain state of mind and things like that, and then they come and then from the outside when you look at them like, oh, he looks so well behaved, he doesn't look like he would bite, and then you're on the other end of the leash, you're holding him just like, yeah, this is just hit. Yeah, we came a long way to get him this far, and like,
Mhm.
they're like, oh, thank you. Please don't stick your hand out in front of him, please.
Still don't do that.
It's like thank you so much for your praise. And like, please don't stick your hand out. Like he still might take the temptation,
Right.
So it's like especially when you have people that want their dogs to play with dogs all the time, but then they happen to have this dog who is very insecure about other dogs or doesn't see dogs in a normal way, like they see them as like prey or have some sort of like aggression, right? Like dogs can be, you can have a good life with the dog with issues like that without having them play with other dogs or go
Mhm.
to dog parks and daycare. It's like you got different alternatives to like make their lives happy without having to be involved around dogs, you
Yeah.
know?
I have a client personally that was the case. Like her dog has killed one puppy and has severely injured another small dog,
Mm-hmm.
and the dog just wasn't comfortable around other dogs. Like she wasn't like, and she just had no like off switch. Like she didn't know how hard she was biting. You could definitely tell.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so because it was like not. I mean, maybe like there was a learning phase whenever she was younger, but we don't really know. Like they didn't have her as a puppy, so we don't know what that learning phase was. But by
Mm-hmm.
the time I got her, she was just snapping, and that was like at full force, and that was it. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't like they annoyed her, a little bit of snap, a little bit of warning, a little bit of warning. It was like immediately full snap and full hurting another dog.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and when she was in training with me, like I did socialize her around other dogs, but she wasn't happy around other dogs. You know, like, and I had to lay it down and let them know, like, this dog is not going to enjoy going to dog parks. This dog is not going to enjoy being around other dogs unless, like she was I would consider her dog selective, because they do have another dog they brought in that she was like, wow, this is a great dog. I like playing with her. But it was very rare that they were ever going to find that somewhere else. They literally just got lucky bringing in another dog. And every now and then they will still ask me about that again, like, or just bring up conversation like, oh, if Fluffy can, you know, continue to do this and go here and go there. And I'm like, I mean, you can try, but I'm not going to say that she's going to enjoy it. You might enjoy it, but their dog more than likely is not, knowing that her behavior is like this and why. And I had to sit there and explain their behavior to them, and they have to maintain that behavior, you know? He does great walking past other dogs now. She does great walking past other squirrels and not rats, shit. I don't even think I was going to that point. I think I was going to say cats. I don't know where rabbits came into play.
Okay. I was like, you got rats in Louisiana like that? Because
I mean,
rats are just they're just like.
What a rat is?
What is that?
It's like the size of a dog.
Oh.
I will send you pictures later. It doesn't really look like a rat, but it has like the teeth. And it has like an oval head, not like a pointy head. And it literally looks like a fat dog coming out of the water. It almost looks like a mixture between like a rabbit with no ears and a beaver.
Oh, you're talking about a capybara.
No, it's a Nutria rat.
It's a Nutria rat?
It might be like close to a capybara, but from what I know, they're known as Nutria rats.
Huh, good to know.
I need to look that one up.
Like, I know, like, I'm gonna look it up as we're talking right now. Like,
that sounds really scary, though.
Anyways, we have those in Louisiana's.
Like, the way like Macey talked about it, was like, I thought the rats were just climbing up trees like squirrels, and I'm just like, apparently they don't have squirrels. They have rats instead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I didn't know Louisiana was like New York, but you know, maybe.
Okay. I look at that. God damn, they're huge.
Huh.
No thanks. I'm good.
I don't think I would want that coming at me.
No thanks. I'm good.
Whenever we'd take field trips to like wherever they were, we would try and feed them as kids.
Okay.
I've never had a bad experience with them. I will say that.
That's good, I guess.
That's
but
so funny.
Dogs like to chase them, so.
They are a prey animal.
Huh?
They are a prey animal, I would guess, based on their teeth.
Yeah. No, they eat like grass and shit. I don't know. I'm not a Nutria expert.
Yeah, we gotta invite you next time. You gotta learn all about them and start talking about it just randomly. We're gonna talk about Nutrias and capybaras.
Yes. I don't have anything cool for that.
Episode. A random fun episode.
I don't have anything cool for that, for the record. Like in Colorado, we have normal things. So.
You have black squirrels.
Not where I live.
I'm pretty sure I saw them when I was there.
No.
No? Where was that? Oh, no, that was when we went
to in North Carolina. They have black squirrels in North Carolina.
No, this was recently. This was the last thing we went to together.
Conference?
Yeah. Yep.
It's fine. Skylar learns about capybaras.
Yeah.
And then Macey does Nutria rats. So it works out perfectly. So.
Perfect.
But yeah, I mean, the thing is, it's just like, you know, it's like between. It's like when you're, like with your dog, like, I try to put it into words, and now I had a little brain fart about it. But like, when it comes to like having your dog chasing things on the leash, or just like have like that prey drive, or have like that reactivity.
Yeah.
Especially like prey drive, like, you know, it's so, like in some dogs it's so ingrained in them. Yeah. But then also too is like for them it's like so much just like adrenaline is also, yeah, it's fun.
Hey, that's fun.
Yeah. So it's just like, when you have to deal with when your dog that like experience that is like, having that thrill in their head and the fun is just like hard.
Yeah.
So it's like it's kind of like it's like super addicting. I can only imagine. But then it's like if you give them like one chance, one little opportunity, then the dog thinks like they can do it again. Like there was like one of the pitties we have. We're like going down a creek trail and we're just like moseying on. It's dead in the park. No one's there. And I decide, like I let this dog chase seagulls and crows and things like that. And then there's a squirrel. And I was like, go get it. And then she runs up to the tree. She crashes in, and then the squirrel hops to the fence, and then she just slams herself on the fence. And I'm just like, okay. But then after that one time, now she's just like, where are the squirrels? And I'm just like,
for the squirrels at all times.
And I'm just like, I regret doing this. I regret allowing you to get this one opportunity. Now you're just like obsessed now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and like, if your dog, like, that's something that they truly enjoy, then give them an outlet. That's gonna make it to where, like, those temptations, where those moments come up and they want to, but you're trying to teach them not to. If you give them an outlet of something similar that they really enjoy, they're less likely to want to even be tempted with that because they get it at home. That could be something as a flirt pole. That can be fast cat. That can be taking a little remote control car. We were talking about that with on one of our podcasts earlier. Was like different ways to mentally stimulate your dog. If you have a dog who likes to run and chase, then give them a remote control. Put a little bunny on top of it, like a little fluffy thing. And make sure you get a fast one. If your dog's really fast,
also let them catch it, because if you build that frustration in your dog where they can't ever catch that thing, it becomes worse. If they can't ever catch that thing, that's why dogs are so bad about squirrels. They can't ever catch it. And so it's always that thing that they're always trying to get at. It's almost the same as like when we use laser pointers with dogs. They can't ever catch that thing, so it becomes really, really frustrating.
Yeah.
And especially with kitties, that's where you start to hear the like screams.
Then it becomes like an OCD thing.
Yeah.
Like where they're just like that, like they start looking at reflections. So it's the same thing with like squirrels. They'll start looking in the trees. They'll start looking at anything that looks remotely like a squirrel. They'll start looking at the leaves rustle and they're woof, 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 woof. They start barking at it. Like that's kind of where all of those, from that one squirrel that they chased and that they can never get, and it builds that frustration. Then they start having issues, like real issues that people have such a hard time pinpointing the reason why those issues are coming. Like,
and then you have to manage that.
Mm-hmm.
I said, and then you have to manage that. I'm trying to bring it back. We got really far off this side there. But yeah, then you have to manage it, and then a lot of people use obedience in especially things like prey drive. Like obedience is one of the big ones for prey drive.
Yeah, I do that. I use a lot of obedience to fix a lot of things and work on impulse control. But I still feel like I give the dog something else that they also enjoy.
Right.
So therefore they're like, okay, well, I'd rather just focus on you, or I'd rather just play with you with the toy instead of looking over there at the thing. So I mean, like, that's kind of what I would consider redirection. Like, if your dog really enjoys barking and you want to manage barking, there's some people out there who teach a bark command, and then when they're doing all their tricks throughout the day, they'll ask for it, and it gives that dog that reason to bark.
It's real. I will say, if you teach a bark command, you also need to teach a quiet command.
Yeah.
Because your dog does not know both. I promise you, if you teach your dog to bark and you do not teach them quiet, it's not going to fix your barking problem.
Nope. After teaching dogs like a couple of labs to speak, and then I try to teach quiet, but then they're just like, they get frustrated. They're like, bark. I'm like, no. I didn't say. I know. We tried.
What I do is, I actually teach like a whisper bark, and then that turns into nothing. So like they're still getting the bark out, but they're not, like screaming in your face all the time. Berta will do it. She huffs now. She goes like really quiet. But she was also kind of like a big barker for when she gets frustrated. So that's kind of why we did that. But like I said, same thing with like, you have a bitey dog, but like a dog that's bred for biting. I'm not saying like some little terrier thing that is having issues, with meeting people. I'm saying like a Malinois, German Shepherd, Like if they really like to be, even when they're playing, if it's not like a true like fear issue, it's not out of fear, it's not out of like true aggression, it's like them playing and they're just putting their mouths on people. Teach them how to play tug.
Their favorite form of communication.
Huh?
Their favorite form of communication. Like,
absolutely.
Rather than dogs who are biting out of fear or biting out of like actual aggression, like it's their favorite form of communication. Like my shepherd loves to get mouthy when we play.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing too, is just like I think just knowing your dog, or just really knowing who your dog is, so you actually know like, okay, like my dog would prefer this, like my dog would prefer chasing squirrels and maybe, practicing a whole prey sequence thing, but I can't just let my dog loose to just kill every little thing, so that I'm gonna redirect it to maybe a game of tug, or put a pole, maybe do a spring pole setting where I can hang a toy for him to tug in the tree, or a flirt pole, or like, give him that outlet, so then also too, like I can satisfy that need. So when we're out in public, my dog is at peace for the most part, and we supplement it with the obedience, we work on self-control, and then we have a ideal citizen of a dog per se that can just walk on a leash and just go by, not be like a whole liability on a leash thing, and then just have a good life. But a lot of people just have a lot of expectations, and just
they just want to take their dog to Squirrel City and just like expect it to behave like day one.
Yeah, like public parks in big cities are the worst for squirrels. Like that's just because nobody's hunting them is why. If you want to get down into that, we don't have squirrels out here like that.
Coyotes. We have coyotes and we have foxes in my parks.
What?
Yeah, there are coyotes and there are foxes. They only come out at night usually because
that's crazy. So we hunt them and we actually eat squirrel out here, and it's so good. But anyways, squirrels don't just hang out in our yard. They know better.
Skylar's just like, no. Skylar's just like, oh no.
Macey just brought out her real Louisiana, and she's like, we eat squirrels.
Oh my god. And it was like, it's like now we gotta try. Now we gotta go over, and then she's gonna have us try squirrel.
Absolutely, I refuse. I'm not eating a squirrel.
You won't even know.
Yeah, she's just gonna offer it, say it's chicken, and then
it's gumbo. Here you go.
Oh god.
And we're gonna be like, where did you get this from? And she's going, oh, from the tree right here.
This meat is so sweet.
If you feed me a squirrel, I would be really mad with you. I would be really mad at you.
This is where Bark Banter splits after a squirrel, after she eats squirrel.
Over. Macey fed a squirrel.
Well, I'm also like epically terrified of squirrels.
Perfect way to get your revenge.
I don't want that either, but like I'm really afraid of squirrels. Like in general, as a person, every time they like come up near me, I scream, and I can't even help it.
Have you ever seen My Big Redneck Vacation?
No.
It's like My Big Family Redneck Vacation, something like that. Anyways, they go to New York, and it's like, I think they're from Louisiana. If not, they're from Texas. They're from somewhere down south. Anyways, and like all the big ass squirrels there, they're like mesmerized. They're like, whoa, where's my BB gun? Literally. I thought it was hilarious. I was like, wow, that's us.
Okay, anyways, good to know. Okay, so good to know. So one random fact is Macey will eat squirrels, and then Skylar's afraid of squirrels. So that's I wouldn't have known that. I would have known that. So that's
I manage myself with my fear of squirrels by not letting them get near me. That's how I manage that. Guess Macey manages herself by eating them.
Oh my God.
But yes, to get back on track, I do think we should definitely touch on like managing, like true behavioral issues, like dogs with aggression.
Like big ones?
Big ones, big issues.
Yeah, so I mean like give me a minute, give me a second to think, but like right now with you guys, like have you guys had like any like behavioral cases that you had to implement, like you had a story that could talk about the management you guys get. You guys want to throw out there for people?
That's almost all of the dogs I work with.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
that's Skylar's specialty.
Yeah, and
Not
almost
mine.
all of the dogs I work with start out as like big management dogs because they all have. Well, I wouldn't say all of them. I do a lot of puppies too, but all of my adult dogs tend to have some sort of bite history, whether it is dog or person. And so, yeah, I do a lot of management. I will speak on one specific dog that actually, like, he's really interesting in a way that I don't know. He freaked me out for a while because he just wanted to eat me all the time. He just like thought that I was just encroaching on his space no matter how far away I was. And then I would take him outside and we'd be best friends. So with him, it is very specifically like a in his house kind of territorial thing. And so we've been doing huge amounts of management with him, including like, I do let them like walk him up to the door and see the person standing at the door. He gets to look at the person and then he has to walk away like with the owner. And then I have them either body block him so that he can't get to the person or put him in a downstay so that he has to actually be in that position. And then the person comes in, they have their like things. As soon as he calms down, he gets to actually approach and sniff a little bit, and then he has to go away. So all of that is very like management kind of things. They would probably prefer if he was just allowed to just go up and greet people, but he is not that kind of dog, and he never will be.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I have dogs like that are territorial in the home that, I tell them just because like between there's different protocols I like to suggest to make things easier for everyone. But like, in the sense where like if your dog's super territorial with someone coming in, like I already explained how like when someone's gonna come over to hang out, but your dog doesn't.
Yep.
And the other thing is like the fact that they're entering their threshold, their space. It's also very triggering. So then I'll tell them like if you're expecting someone, you can do the littles of things like having them like text you instead of like knock at the door, or just be like, or like like instead of having your dog see them like in the house when they come in, it's like sometimes I like maybe have them come out with them on the leash and have them hang out for like a few minutes, and then after the dog sniffs you, then you all can go back in the house. Or like there's dogs that I'll say put them away in the crate or in the room, and then when everyone gets settled, put the jackets on, they sit down. That's when you can bring the dog out like calmly and let them check it out, so it doesn't make it look like it doesn't look like the person that you're bringing in is invading your space or trying to in some dog's paranoid mind think they're gonna break in and murder you all and for some reason, so
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is just like if you're like I tell people, if you're not gonna pay attention to them at all, or if you're gonna go take a shower, or if you're like having a Super Bowl party and you have to like make yourself disappear, go to your room or something like that, like either have someone responsible to watch the dog or put the dog away, or have it where your dog doesn't get an opportunity to mess up, or have someone like a friend or a family mess up your thing. Because it's like I've had stories where a client went away for like 5 minutes and they hear something in the living room, they run out, be like, what happened? And then the guy's like, the dog bit me. It's like, what happened? I was like, how? I was like, I don't know. And then I'm like,
yeah, we've all got those stories. Yeah.
I'm like, that does not help the situation at all.
Nope.
Yeah. Actually, this week I had to go over management skills again for one of my very severely aggressive cases. He's already gone through like a lot of training with me, and he does fine with me as long as I am like doing all the things necessary, I guess you'd say. He's had a few regressions back to his old behavior, depending on like if they're changing houses, if their schedule is changing, like things like that, and I'm always having to remind them to go back to the beginning and re-establish all of those rules and boundaries for him, because he's a dog that if those boundaries aren't there and he can test them, he's gonna bite somebody.
Yep.
And it's important to note that, like, what we do, we don't change aggression, we manage aggression. Like, changing aggression, like, that's just your dog, that's just how your dog is, you know, like, unless it's like, I think maybe fear aggression can sometimes be overcome, but I don't think all forms of aggression can be overcome.
I think if you do enough management and like work towards something, you can change the way a dog feels about something. But I think that most people and most regular pet owners honestly don't have it in them to put in that much work. And so it's actually been, the management techniques are necessary.
So it's actually been discussed putting this dog down because his management stuff takes so much out of these people. He just needs a lot of management. And this week they wanted to go on vacation, so they left him with a pet sitter. And he bit the pet sitter twice before I had to go over there and show the pet sitter that he couldn't, like, what he needed to do. And basically, the dog has barrier aggression, and he was just walking in there. His form of letting the dog calm down was waiting a second for the dog to realize that he's in the room before he starts grabbing him, and putting his collars on. So I had to, like, send him through, like, hey, this dog's never been here before, the rules that he knows at home, because the guy taking care of the dog's usually good with him. Like, he's a friend of the house, and the dog's fine, like, doesn't care about him. But at his house, this dog's never been there before. He's never trained there before. None of those management skills, dogs don't generalize very well. They can, they just don't generalize very well. But all of those management skills that the dog has practiced at the house was not practiced at this house. And that made him regress all the way back to the beginning. It took me 30 minutes when I went in to get this dog to calm down. And then instead of doing training necessarily, I showed him just basically how to handle the dog safely without getting bit, which was, one, we utilized a squirt bottle with lemon to actually correct him for the behavior of lunging and trying to come after us through the kennel. And then we used a slip lead, and he's in a wire crate, so we slipped it in through the wire of the crate, and then, like, he's a really treat motivated dog, so we had his food, and we actually got him to put his own head through the leash that was hanging there with a big loop, and then we let the end of the loop drop and still held on to the rest of the leash to where it, like, tightened on his own, and then we took the leash and through every little bar had to get it to where we had it all the way to the door. Then we had a barrier that we used, that was the bottom of a kennel, a crate, and we used that barrier to be between the dog and the guy that has no relationship with the dog at this place. And this dog has to be there for a week, so it's unreasonable to ask this guy to, like, build a bond with this dog in a week, you know? Especially because this is a very hard dog to bond with and be able to have, like, a relationship based, I guess, like, what I'm trying to say, like, a relationship based, like, respect between the two of them. So I was just showing him ways of, like, getting the dog out to go potty, putting the dog back in the kennel without getting bit to keep himself safe, and teach this dog, like, hey, rules and boundaries, bro, like, rules and boundaries, like, if you're going to do this and act like this, you're gonna get, you know, squirted in the face with a bottle, and also, if you can't come at me and push me out the way because there's a barrier there, and you're going to have to put a leash on anyways. You know, so we're going through all these motions. Also, told him to control the water, told him to control the food, told him to control, like, being it, like, whenever he gets to let him in and out, and the dog gets to go relieve himself. These are all important things these are all resources to the dog that he values. So if the guy is controlling all of these and not rushing it, the dog's going to be like, okay, well, I have to listen to you. And that's just for this particular dog. You know, everybody with different dogs, they have different things that they need to do to manage it. For this particular dog, his management is, like, so, like, over the top. And then once, you know, you have a lasting respect with this dog and relationship with this dog, he follows through and he's good. Yep. It's a lot. And management, like this type of management, isn't for everybody.
Yeah.
That's really true.
I think, yeah, especially real quick, I'm just gonna shout out Bill. What's up, Bill? It's all about rules, boundaries, effective communication, 100% with that.
Are we live right now?
Yeah, you're all live on Facebook and YouTube.
We were live this whole time?
I did not know this was live. This was recorded.
Oh my God, no. And sub Lewis, sub Denise. Good to hear from you, Bill. Yeah, I mean that's the one thing where Macy, you like was on point with is management definitely is has to be like I feel like has to be like a certain lifestyle, like certain like dog owners have to like sometimes it can be too much depending on the dog because it's like you have like genetics, you have just dogs who maybe just had like a bad traumatic situation, or you have like a dog that was like 5 week syndrome, or you have like dogs coming from different situations, and like you'll get like some people like I have owners who are very good at managing behavior, like no problem for them, like they don't really they're like, oh, it's okay, we don't like dog parks anyway. It's like, oh, it's okay, we don't go out that much, and but then you have owners that maybe have like kids, or like you'll have you'll have like different situations, maybe like you're like you're older, or you have a certain you're in college and things like that, that's like that managing certain behaviors is just can be really stressful if you don't know how to deal with it. So that's
And
why
even
it's like
if you do know how to deal with it, sometimes it just becomes too much for a person. These people that I really commend them for working with this dog and giving this dog a chance to be, but it's been a year of them managing him. And he's a
Mhm,
lot, and
mhm.
they have a young kid, they're trying to start a family. They've moved a few times, and every time they move, this dog starts over. So I mean, like, it's a lot to handle. It's not for everybody. It's not like this dog decides to counter surf every time. Counter surfing I find is a very minute, I guess you'd say, issue compared to this dog who has a issue with like rules and boundaries. Um, so I mean, like that's always different.
Yeah, but I mean, like for both situations though, it both requires like, like maintenance. It also requires like, what to do at the time, like if you're not around, or if like, okay, like what do you do in this situation? So that's where it's like, whether it's as light case as a counter surfing case or aggression, you still have to be disciplined in the way where like, okay, like this is what we're gonna do in this situation, or if I'm not around, it's
I'm
like,
not going to let it
okay,
happen.
I'm not gonna let it
I'm not
happen.
going to let it happen. That's the biggest thing is like if you're not around and your dog just has the free range to just make its own decisions, it's probably
Yeah,
going to make the wrong one.
but I think
Absolutely.
the other thing too is like when you have high maintenance dogs, like how Bill is mentioning right now, how high maintenance dog can be very exhausting. Like I think the other thing too to balance it out is to have time where you can actually have fun with your dog,
Yeah.
in
Mhm.
like so you can remind yourself why I wanted a dog,
And why
so I
you
can
do all of this.
And
yeah,
why
why
you
you
want
wanted
this
this.
particular dog that has
Yeah.
these particular issues? Why do you love this dog? Why is
Yeah.
this dog so important?
Yeah.
Hmm. So that's and it's just like it's like kids, it's like us, we all have our quirks, but we all manage our habits in some shape or form. But like just be able to have it where like there's gonna be times where we just need to have some protocol to get by to help the dog and make things less stressful for the owners, pet sitter, and things like that. But then like just be able to have it where we're we're trying to teach kind of like alternative behaviors, like okay, we don't want you to do this, as this behavior will lead to either a spray bottle or some consequence or something, right? Or like we just don't want you doing it at all. And then to go, okay, if you see a dog, sniff the ground instead, or whether I have to
Right.
like sprinkle like Parmesan cheese powdered on the ground, or play find
That's a
it,
huge.
or yeah, yeah. Like I learned that from Grisha Stewart, where
I like that one.
like Bat,
Yeah. Yeah.
she'll like she'll get Parmesan cheese and she'll sprinkle on the grass so she can promote the dog to sniff and forage when
I'm gonna do that.
another
I like
dog's
that.
around.
I'm gonna do that.
So like on the grass or the dirt, so you can like do that.
Yeah.
But it's just like right, like your dog. Most dogs feel like they only have the one way option, where your job as a trainer or the owner be like, no, no, you have 10 other options, but this
Yeah.
one you're doing is the least desired.
This is the one we would like you to not do, please. Oh, I was also going to say, if you have a dog that you need to manage heavily, take time for yourself and like take care of yourself, because that's the biggest thing I find with owners who have super high maintenance, very like dogs who need a lot of management, is that
Mm-hmm.
they spend all of their time thinking about this dog and thinking about how to manage this dog. And they don't go to the movies. They don't get their hair done. They don't get their nails done. Like they don't do any of these things that could actually like give you a chance to like relax and mentally unwind.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
you will die of exhaustion.
For sure.
I mean, you'll just get burned out, honestly, and then what
That's
happens
basically,
is,
yeah.
and
I
then
feel
what
like that's why
happens
dog
is,
trainers get burnt out so easy, because we're managing everybody else's issues with their
All the
dog.
time.
yeah, and I mean, it's just so much to take in, and it's also the thing is like I mean, my story with like my Malama is like I had her, she was dog reactive since a puppy, and then we worked on it since 3 years old. Now she's pretty good, but then I took a lot of jerks and not so nice dogs for boarding trains when I was young and uh, less intelligent than what I am now. Um, but my dog, after taking all these dogs, it was just burnt out, and she doesn't really. She kind of escalates from a correction to like actually like like you're in my face, I'm gonna grab your face for like a minute. I'm just like, fantastic. Okay, cool. But like I just know what dog she gets along with. I know she loves intact males. I know she loves certain puppies that she'll pick.
Mm-hmm.
But I do not put her around like other strong personality dogs. I don't put her around like reactive cases anymore, like to do interactions. I don't allow that. Her to, I don't want her to practice that behavior because it's
Mhm.
like, I want my dog to trust me to take care of that.
Yeah.
And I don't want her thinking she has to do that to make things go away, especially like when we go to the beach, when we go to off leash hikes. If I see a dog up ahead that I know is going to be trouble, that's when I ask for an obedience. I ask her to heel or like go next to me, go on the other side. We walk, dog goes away, okay, go. And then after that, we let her run. So it's like just just to do management like that, it's like
Yeah.
it's letting me have a good life with this dog.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, as much as I would love a cupcake dog that can just play and just not and be stress free, that'll be
I have
next.
one.
That'll be later. That'll be later on. But she teach you just having this dog just taught me just how to like understand management, but still have like work around what
Yeah.
normal people would want and just enjoy the dog I have, because we'll do tug, we'll do slap mill, we'll do spring pole, we'll do all the different things, and she's having a great life, and she's not around dogs all the time. So
Yeah. And they don't need to be.
No. I do
That's
think
for
it's
us.
important to note as well that like even your obedience needs management. If we have like just obedient dogs, like not dogs that have like any major behavioral issues, like dogs that are just in for obedience, just for good manners, like that needs to be managed and maintained as well. Like that's not something that is a one and done and boom, my dog knows how to sit. Like that's something that I find that if you're not actively practicing after a board and train, after you finish your classes, after you're, whenever you're not doing group classes, all these different things, like as a client, it's very important to take what you learn and then that's your lifestyle. Training a dog is not just to fix something. It's a lifestyle from that point on. And it's important for like if you want your dog to stop jumping at people at the door, make them sit every time you go to the door. If you want your dog to stop, rushing the door and running out without you, having a leash on them, make sure you teach them wait at the door, and then you make them wait at the door every single time. You don't just I only do wait at the door when it's convenient for me. It's something that it's like a muscle. You have to exercise it, and if you don't exercise it, it gets weak.
Yep.
Same thing with your obedience.
Well, how many of us have gotten obedience cases where they're like, I did this board and train when they were 6 months to a year old, but meh, I don't actually think my dog knows anything. And you're like, well, they probably knew a lot of things. They may not necessarily know those things now, but they did know a lot of things.
yeah, I mean that's the thing, right? It's just like and this is what several trainers have taught. I have learned from they've mentioned to me is that, you know, as important management is, but it's also important to not always like 100% rely on it, because management always fail. Management will fail somewhere along the way.
Yep, because people get lazy.
Yeah, because people let their guard down, and as
Yep.
soon as
Mhm.
that happens, it's like that's exactly when shit goes down. Like that's happened to me several times where I got comfortable, and then all of a sudden I had two dogs fight in the house, and I'm just like, oh, here's the red moon again. I'm like,
Or a
Yep.
dog that takes off and bolts and chases something instead of like it breaks its stay because you didn't practice your stay enough, or you didn't practice your recall enough, or you didn't
mhm,
continue to practice it. And whenever you needed it in times of high stress and the dog is broken that command and running haywire and it gets hit, think of worst case scenarios. So I
mhm.
mean that's kind of why you like if your management will fail if you don't keep up at it and you don't keep I don't think I said that right. Anyways, uh
and
training
your
will
li-
fail if you don't keep up the management, I think is what I meant to say.
and
Yeah.
your live stream. Gosh, Macy, just kidding.
Oh god.
Hey, Adrian, great topic. Thank you. And then we got Ashley. She's local with me. She helps me dog sit my dogs when I'm out of town. So yeah, management is key. Kennel training is important. So if dog can't be supervised, you can take a kennel nap. Importance doing this prevents separation anxiety. I've worked with many clients since COVID who can't leave their pups alone for any amount of time, so they don't have a life.
That's a
Good
big
point.
one. That's a
I
Yep.
big
had a
one.
client last year who quite literally wouldn't leave her house for 3 hours. I was
Yep.
I was like, go out and have fun. Put
Yep.
your dog in the kennel. Go. And she celebrated and told me one day where she actually went out after months of having the dog and actually went out and had drinks with her friends for like 8 hours. And I was like, good for you. Because your dog doesn't control your life. Your dog is there
Hmm.
to be a companion, So
Yeah.
like go do your life.
Well, and then how do you find a pet sitter when you have to be with your dog 24/7? Because
Hmm.
I don't know a pet sitter that does that. I don't know a pet
Hmm.
sitter that's going to stay with the dogs 24/7 unless you're paying them a lot of money.
I had a
And then
client
is
who
it
does
Yep.
even
that. He
worth
has
going
pet
on?
sitters who live at his house, but he also is hardly ever home because he has a big job. So
Yeah, I mean the big thing too is like, I mean, especially with us, we have multiple dogs, and then our dogs have multiple quirks. That's like we can't just let them go to someone else's like a rover house, or just somebody who's like boarding
Yeah.
other dogs that could possibly trigger our dogs, and then it's just a whole complete just crap show of a thing where it's like I've got to interview like 20 pet sitters, and then almost 15 or 16 does not make the cut, and then you're
Yeah.
like at a good couple. So
mhm. Yeah, getting
so
a
it,
kennel check for my own personal dogs has been the best thing in the world.
that that must be nice. Now I'm gonna so you tell me to hire a kennel tech to just
In
manage
your
my
own
dogs,
house.
my own
For
house.
your
It's
own
cool. I'm
house,
going to do it too
you should absolutely.
for my own
It was,
house.
I'm telling you, hey. And then it works perfect with her like little school schedule because she's a high schooler. I'm like, yeah, just come in the evenings, come in the mornings before school, take care of the dogs. They're good.
Hey, that sounds perfect. So, but
Yeah.
like, yeah, I think this topic is just really important to talk about, just because it's like just because it's like I feel we can be empathetic, but people can feel better knowing that it's like, okay, people we're talking about this, and they're like, okay, they get it, or
Well,
they're like, I'm not alone, like.
yeah, I mean, and you see all of the comments on all people's videos where it's like they're using a tool or they're doing this thing, and you get so many people being like, just train your dog, or like, you're just managing your dog. Like, that's what some people have to do for their dogs. And also, management is a huge part of getting your dog where they need to be. Like, stop being so mean about it. Like, oh, you're just putting a band-aid on it. No, I'm taking the proper steps to get where I need to go.
Yeah, it's like management for me is like I don't really see it as like a bad word. It's just like, like, hey, you're like for us to really make progress and for your dog to not, go after other dogs or, bite people and things like that, there's going to be a little bit of management where you're going to have to do these steps to help along the way. Cause it's like, it's just like, cause it's like, that's something I think maybe one of the few things that like doing balance trainers and like force free community, we can agree is like management is important for a dog to keep dog behavior, which is like, that's how it's important because both sides are
Right.
like really like blah. Now I'm having a brain fart moment again where I can't find the right word. But
there you go. You can go have that. Push it over to you.
Push it over to me, but like, have it where both sides like communicate the importance of that, because it's like, if it's like with reactivity, like if you keep letting them be reactive, the cortisol level stays like in their brain super high, and then it just like every time you walk and you don't do any structure or you don't do any like sort of training, that's your dog's just gonna stay haywire like that. Your dog keeps biting people. He like thinking, oh, this works. I can keep people at my house if I keep doing this. I'm like, no, or like butter, like, oh, cool. And I'm gonna keep jumping on the counter till I find something to eat, and then you're reinforcing because like it's that variation reinforcement where like I keep doing it, and then now and then I hit jackpot. I hit butter. I'm like,
yep.
Oh, it's like that's super strong too as a reinforcement. So
occasionally it works. It's just like with jumping. If occasionally somebody touches your dog when they jump on them, they're gonna keep doing it.
Yep. And then here, good to see you, Elaine. I love listening to you, Kevin. All these adoptions you helped within memory. I used to volunteer at the rescue that she's had. That was like, I was doing it during high school, so I would just volunteer, walk the dogs and all that. And I had to. I walked with. I think half of them were reactive dogs, so that was fun. But they were fun. To work on. It was good to work. It was good to practice my experience with them. So
yeah.
But yeah, I think this is a super good topic to talk about, and this is definitely like, you guys can also share this on YouTube with your clients.
Yeah.
So it's like, if because I make these videos just so I don't have to repeat myself like 100 times to my clients.
Yeah. No, I understand
management.
That.
So then it's just like this, just like, here, I'm gonna copy paste this video for you so you can listen to me talk, and I don't have to text or tell you all over again. You can just replay this. So it's just about working smarter as well as a little bit hard. So
that's really smart though.
But yeah, I think this was super great, and I don't know what, like, do you guys have any other thoughts or?
No, I don't think so. I think we covered just about everything.
Yeah. Don't feel bad if you have to manage your dog. There's no reason to feel bad about it.
No.
Even if you have to manage him for the whole life.
Give yourself time. Like, if you need to just put the dog away, it will be fine. Put the dog away, and go out for a movie night. Go out for drinks. Go out for dinner.
Yep.
Leave the dog at home.
I think that's it. Yeah, that's the important thing too. It's like, I'm always taking care of the dogs all the time. I'm always like working with the dogs and just like trying to make them happy. But then there's like literally the days of my Sunday, Mondays off. It's just me. It's just my days, and then I just do non-dog stuff so I can enjoy my dogs later.
I'm not as disciplined as that.
Trust me. It's like, for me, it's like Sunday. I'm like, all right, bye. Like, peace out, dogs. And especially, especially the other thing too that I would like to talk about for like listeners who are pet owners and things like that. It's like, if you're having a bad day, or you're sick, or if you're like something ruined your day, like, just don't train your dog. Just do something fun with them. Go to rent a sniff spot, let them run around, play ball, then come back and just enjoy the rest of the day. Like,
don't do that. Go out for
I was gonna say, or even just don't, and just like go for whatever they need to, like go to the bathroom and like just let it be for a day. Your dog's not going to die if they don't have one day of
Yeah,
like personal action.
but you know what I mean, where it's like,
Yeah.
if it's like, you don't have to be training with the dog every day, but it's like, if you just want to do something simple as like that, just get your dog, do something with the dog real quick, and then you have the rest of the
Leaky
day
mat.
to just go hang out with friends, or like go
For
eat
sure.
eat out or something, just
Yeah.
just give yourself the break, because it's like we're the ones that are having to live with the dogs, with like in our tiny 4-bedroom, or our tiny little bougie prison of a house or home or apartment or whatever you have. So it's like,
Yeah.
it's always just nice to just take a break, and then like come back when you're refreshed, so
Right. That's
so I
the
think,
whole like airplane metaphor. Like put the oxygen mask on yourself first. Like make sure that you're in good working order before you decide to like go and do all of these things for somebody else.
yeah, there's actually this quote. I don't know if you all watched that, not the old Karate Kid, but you all watched the one with Will Smith's kid,
I didn't watch the new one.
okay, so with him and Jackie Chan, right? Like there's this Chinese phrase. I'm not gonna say the Chinese. I'm still working on my Chinese, because I'm on Duolingo for a reason. So, but there in English it says, too much of something's not good. So it's like, it's like too much working with the dog and managing the dog is not good for you, and it's like, just take a break, just go, just give yourself a treat, and just, your dog will be fine. Your dog will be fine without you for a few hours.
Yeah.
Unless it's a separation anxiety case. That's where we're gonna have to like do a little bit of a different.
Separation anxiety is a whole different beast, and yeah, I don't take them for a reason.
Yeah. So, but anyway, guys, I think that was that was plenty to talk about. And if you guys had any like
Oh man,
questions,
Macey just left us.
oh, it could be. Macy's just like, no, I'm old. If you guys have any questions, you guys can reach out. You can leave a comment. We can always answer your question there, or like you could hit us up on Facebook or whatever. And then and then Skylar and Macey have a good podcast too, that they're growing slowly. But so with you guys, if someone wanted to reach out to you or get in contact with you guys, how do you like to be reached out, or what is it? What website or thing do you guys got?
So our podcast is called Bark Banter, and it is Bark Banter Podcast at gmail.com, or you can find us on Facebook at Bark Banter Podcast. We have like little lists every week that you can pick the topic that we're actually going to talk about that week. Macey is lagging right now. But yeah, and then I am Skylar, and I own Redemption Dog Training in Denver, Colorado. And if you search Redemption Dog Training Denver, Colorado, you'll find most of my stuff. I'm most popular on Instagram. I like to make people mad.
I like to make people mad.
I do. I enjoy saying things that make complete sense, that just make everybody mad on the internet. It's great.
All right, and then Macey, you're slightly lagging, blurry, but
let's see if we can get Macey. If not, I'll say her story. Are you there?
But yeah, you.
Oh.
Can you hear us, Macey?
Oh man.
Okay.
Okay, Macey owns Boss Dog Canine Training, I think is the appropriate way of saying that. She has a Facebook and an Instagram, and she's in Louisiana, so just put in Boss Dog Louisiana and you will find her stuff. She's really good, and she does board and trains and stuff. So
cool. So you get. So if any of the listeners, you guys are near their area, definitely hit them up. They're great. They're awesome, and they're definitely worth the They're definitely worth the time, and they are great. They're both amazing trainers. That hopefully I'll see them at conference soon. So
yeah, we're going to conference. Okay.
Hell yeah. So thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for commenting. And if you guys had any questions, you can reach out to us at any time. And I'll let everyone know when's the next live stream with the next trainer. So, but me, Skylar, Macey are going to sign out real quick, and hope you all have a good Sunday.